Once you have intellectual property rights, you need to enforce them in order for them to mean anything. But that can be tough for several reasons. First, you need to be able to prove ownership of those intellectual property rights. You have to prove that you are the owner of the intellectual property in question, and it can be difficult unless you've got the proper documentation. Proper documentation would be the copyright certificate if the intellectual property is a work of authorship, or the trademark registration, or the patent. Proving ownership of a trade secret, that can be pretty dicey because those trade secrets can be tough to document. Another difficulty in enforcing your IP rights is to identify the fact that it's being infringed in the first place. Sometimes infringement happens and you just have no clue, especially if that infringement is occurring in other countries, if you have rights in other countries, and or if it's occurring online. Sometimes that can be tough to prove. To gather. Also, it can be difficult to gather evidence. You need to gather evidence of the infringement. You need to show that the infringement happened. You need to show, ideally, you'll be able to show that it was willful so you can treble your damages and get attorney's fees out of it. But that can be a pretty dicey thing to do. If your intellectual property is located in a country other than the one in which you are located, yeah, good luck with that. That, especially if you are a small business, that requires all kinds of resources to enforce. So that can be very tough. Litigation ain't cheap. So if you're litigating, then do try to prove willful infringement so that you can at least get further damages out of your defendant. But collecting those damages can also be a problem. If you have a defendant who's in the same boat you are, they're a small business and they have limited resources, then yeah, you're going to have a problem collecting from it. And if you don't have the resources to enforce your intellectual property, then that's you're not going to be able to enforce it. So those are some of the difficulties that are involved in enforcing your intellectual property rights.